Published by Tim Morozov in December of 2021, the paranormal investigator enters the most haunted of houses and encounters one of the most dangerous level 5 poltergeists he's ever faced off with. In the video, Tim draws a circle in chalk on the floor in the living room. Cameras are set up all around. He asks the spirits in the home to move things. After a time, something triggers one of his paranormal devices. The thermal imaging camera shows a great white orb floating in the vicinity. The orb passes by him where it hovers over the Ouija board. The planchette starts to spaz out all over the board. It doesn't seem to be spelling anything, it's just going berserk. The light then floats out of frame. After this, several items in the room float into the air. The light reappears and then seems to brush past Tim, knocking him to the floor. It comes back and knocks him again. Is this the most aggressive poltergeist you've ever seen? Tim left with his life this time, but next time he might not be so lucky. When your dog sees something you don't, their harrowing sixth sense can send chills down your spine. That's what happened to TikToker Alpha Ocean 22, who writes, "I live alone and just found out about the previous owner." Alpha Ocean's footage begins abruptly with her dog barking into the darkness.
What are you barking at? Oh, God.
The dog is on high alert, his body language that of defense. He's seen growling and springing across the bed. Needless to say, the animal's reaction to whatever lies beyond terrifies its owner to no end. In a follow-up video, Alpha Ocean explains exactly what happened in the initial footage.
From Diesel essentially growling at nothing physical. I'm definitely not in a position to say what it was in the video or what is real and what's not. Personally, I've always been real spiritual, so I know what I felt.
She says she was woken up at 1 in the morning from her dog Diesel, growling at nothing physical. She explains that she's in no position to say exactly what it was that Diesel was growling at, though it was the first time the dog has acted this way. She, however, has always been spiritual and felt something in the home. She claims this wasn't the first time something unusual like this has happened to her. She calls the home her wildlife sanctuary, but says she's had some sense for a while that she's not supposed to be there. She discovered from neighbors that the owner of the home was a very closed-off man who lived alone with his mother who passed away. Alpha Ocean states she'll leave the rest up to the viewer's interpretation. So how do you interpret this? Do dogs have a sixth sense? And if so, did Ocean's pet perceive the presence of the homeowner's dearly departed? Or was this dog sensing something else? I guess we'll never know for sure. A YouTuber named Exploring with Felicity is exploring an abandoned house when her solo paranormal investigation goes very wrong. She thinks she hears spooky and creepy noises upstairs, and I do too.
Very creepy.
Whatever it is, it doesn't sound like a wild animal.
I'm just trying to get used to.
She makes it to the second floor and is about to go to the third when a spectral figure passes by. We don't get to see if this was a real ghost sighting or a scary stranger dressed in all black because she is too busy running out of the abandoned house to get a closer look, which to some is all the paranormal evidence needed to conclude this scary video is probably real. Isaiah Harris published his sewer exploration in March of 2018, describing it as the utter most scariest video that I've ever recorded yet. He went on to say, "I think it was mostly because of the position I was in and how much ghostly things I heard and seen." The first clip shows Harris along with two young accomplices exploring the underground sewer during the daytime. They make their way along a tunnel to an area with pooled water, which has frozen over with ice. In a second video of the sewer exploration, Harris, joined this time by his brother and sister-in-law, shows how they entered the sewer by lifting up a big iron storm grate and crawling under. The tunnel is filled with graffiti, and they jump down from this initial tunnel to a broader area. A ladder is also positioned there, suggesting that this area is a regular stomping ground for exploration. They continue on, and Harris explains to his crew that there will soon be a ditch with shin-deep water, and there may be a den beyond, as he found evidence of people living there once before. The ditch area is filled with ice and a layer of snow over top. Harris jumps down, breaking through the ice. The other two decide to turn back because they think they've heard something in the tunnel, but that's when Harris looks deep into the tunnel beyond and decides that he too wants to hightail it out of there after he claims to have seen something down there. They start to make their way back, but pause when they hear a growling sound. Harris also notes that there's a handprint on the wall. As they arrive at the exit ladder, they also hear tapping sounds coming from within the tunnel. They manage to make it out of the tunnel without incident, but one does wonder whether the creature within was human or monster. This paranormal investigator regularly observes the Savannah Theater. This is one of the first videos Redditor background ad 6785 captured there.
Look at how much it slows down.
That's so
and the shape
insane.
is just what threw me off.
Wait, show the...
Never seen that.
Do you see the thing flying around?
Look at how much it slows down.
That's so
And the shape
insane.
is
Why does it slow down so much? Some in the comments think it's dust or a moth. I do think both theories are likely, but I'd prefer to think there's something more mysterious happening at the Savannah Theater. Are you willing to risk your life for a thrill? Before you put on your hiking shoes, watch this video of Huashan Mountain, published to YouTube in June of 2018. An unsubstantiated rumor is that the mountain takes 100 lives annually, and after watching this footage, it certainly seems plausible. Pedro writes, "Once you are going up the mountain, there is not much protection for you. One of the most difficult parts of the hike is the cliffside plank walk. You are quite literally walking the plank, hanging on to the side of a mountain peak for dear life." Pedro notes that it's one of the mountain's most popular attractions, and there's often a 3 or more hour queue to walk the plank, as you can see in the video. When Pedro arrives at the plank, he's one among many climbers hanging onto a rusty old chain as they take their precarious steps along the piece of broken wood. A 7,070-foot drop lies below. Pedro says some people take off their harness in order to capture better photos, hence the risk of the mountain. Climbing the mountain is enough of a risk, makes you wonder, is a photo really worth your life? YouTube channel The Haunted Side Paranormal Investigations asks, would you keep going? But before you answer that, here's some context. In this short video, they were exploring Sutro Tunnel Ghost Town in Dayton, Nevada. Watch and answer for yourself.
Watch the door here coming on.
Whoa! And this was only upon entering. If you crossed the threshold and this happened,
Coming on.
whoa! Would you take a step further? Me neither. This video was streamed live from Telemark, Norway. A YouTuber named Odins2 sees a gigantic disturbance in the water, so he pulls over and starts recording. This is what he sees. It starts out as a long and skinny, shimmering mass, but after a while it really starts to take form, especially in the center, possibly as the monster rises very close to the surface. Since there are no boats nearby and the water is mostly calm, Many people suspect that this is a famous legendary sea serpent named Seljord, which is Norwegian for Selma. It's kind of like Norway's version of the Loch Ness Monster. I guess it could just be fishing nets or a long string of garbage instead, but it's hard to tell for certain. Maybe someone out there with fishing experience can let me know if it looks like any of those things. On this night in Florida, a YouTuber named Deer Meat for Dinner is after a different type of wild game than his name would suggest, something much more dangerous. You'll have to go to his channel to see exactly how they managed to land this giant creature, because it's a battle that unfortunately I can't show here, but the end result is just as terrifying as the battle itself. 4 grown men struggle to pull a gator aboard, whose jaws are easily as broad as their shoulders. Every square inch is a battle that brings the boat closer to its tipping point. They have to take numerous breaks, and for a while it looks like they might lose their grip and let their catch sink to the bottom. The entire time I'm waiting for the gator to snap back to life. As they roll it onto the boat, Deer Meat for Dinner orders everyone away from the tail that could easily snap a leg. When they get back, the team needs an actual heavy-duty crane to lift the giant beast up and get a final measurement. It's 13 feet and 2 inches long and weighs 1,127 pounds, a new Florida record. I feel like you can really gain a better idea of its size from this angle. The YouTuber is a pretty tall guy, and this thing's tail alone comes up all the way from Turkey, named Ansari, is documenting a haunted tunnel that's too scary for him to get very far.
جوا يا بسم الله شو هاد والله العظيم اطلعوا يا بسم الله.
Behind him, an eerie red ring radiates with an evil force. He knows he has to get out quick or else he will succumb to its terrifying effects, but as he creeps near the entrance, the haunted tunnel takes a final swipe at him.
في صوت حركة بسم الله شو هاد خليني أقرب بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يلي موجود هون بسم الله سمعتوه أقسم بالله العظيم في صوت حركة يا والله العظيم في شيء عم يركض جوا بسم الله.
Ansari's had enough and decides to block off the tunnel to contain whatever evil is inside, but it seems as though whatever scary thing he's caught on tape has other plans.
إنه هالفكرة هي منيحة من هون لبكرة أنا بيبين معي إذا رح يا بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أقسم بالله العظيم شفتوا شلون شالت.
It seems like the rock could have simply fallen over here, but it's very heavy and shouldn't tip over so easily. It's hard to say if it was pushed over by a ghost or simply off balance to begin with, so let me know if you think this video is paranormal or not. As for why only a small portion of the tunnel would be glowing red like that, I have no idea. A Russian police officer is roaming the snowy countryside when he comes in close contact with a creature that has since never been identified. The officer is traveling at a low rate of speed when suddenly something huge dashes across his headlights. The strange figure is only visible for a moment, then it's gone. Many YouTubers suspect this to be a Russian yeti. Others are sure that it's a man in a suit or even someone who is completely naked, though this theory is hard to believe because a person in Russia would probably freeze to death if they stood outside naked for very long. Look closely and you'll see that whatever it is, it's moving quite fast. It only takes the thing about 5 or 6 steps to fully get away, and I should mention that the snowbanks on both sides of the tracks appear to be very deep. An average-sized person would be struggling way more to get over them. Zoom in and you'll see what looks to be white fur hanging off of its body. Also, it looks to be hunched over and its arms almost touch the ground. If this is a costume, it's very convincing. Recently, I've come across some YouTube channels showcasing these images of what appears to be the Statue of Liberty, moving her hand slightly to the right. It took me a long time, but I finally found the original video and can verify beyond all reasonable doubt that this giant moving statue video is edited. It is from a 2006 upload called The Statue of Liability, made by a computer animator named RODC 2006, who says in the description that it was made using a program called Blender 3D. So if you should ever happen to see these images somewhere online in the future, now you know it never happened and who originally made it. Props to RODC 2006 for being so good at editing that he continues to fool people so many years later. On this supernatural search, Alan from Procura Sobrenatural investigates a house in which no one has been able to live. Anyone who tries is driven out by paranormal activity. During a previous investigation, he captured a spirit at this door.
Captou espírito aqui, ele estava aqui, por trás dessa porta aqui, espírito parado olhando pra gente.
This is the spirit. Still, he enters the house and inside he hears strange noises. To me, it sounds like something dripping. He breaks out the EMF meter in another room and again hears something.
Tem alguém aqui que quer se aproximar? Se aproxima aqui do aparelho. Eu vou deixar aqui esse aparelho aqui, ó.
He also finds graffiti that warns not to enter.
Não entrar. Não entrar aqui. Não entrar aqui. Tá escrito aqui, não entrar aqui.
Although he didn't run into anything too spooky this time, I get a real creeped out feeling from this place, and I think he should probably heed this warning. There must be a reason why no one lives here. A live streamer named Lothar is in the middle of playing Hearthstone when he suddenly starts acting out of sorts. If you pay close attention to his face, you can see that he is clearly feeling some discomfort. He takes his headset off and tries to regain control over himself, but to no avail. And his wife finds him there. She tries to get him to come to his senses. Here's a brief excerpt of the call. I don't speak the language, but common sense gives me some idea of what she is saying. Still, any translations are appreciated.
Nie, ale tak wyglądało. Myślałam, że się czymś... Słucham? Tak, ale myślałam, że się czymś zadławił.
In case anyone is wondering, Lothar spent about a week recovering, but this has not happened since. This girl sobs into her long black hair, and her wails of sorrow are beyond strange. Take a listen and tell me if the cries are really coming from her, or if they've been layered over top. And just when her hair parts, and we see movements from seeing her face, if this really is a roadside ghost, then whoever is filming this should be ready for a serious haunting. I don't know much about video editing, but I will say that the video is low quality, which is a sign of computer rendering, and the upward transition looks a little rough around the edges, so although this video could be real, and from a long time ago, I do have some doubts. This old dormitory has a story to tell. According to the channel 01 Supernatural Studio, who published this video in February of 2022, this dormitory was left behind by a foreign company after an incident happened in this place. What type of incident though? Well, he doesn't go into detail, but considering the company left this place abandoned, it must not be a good one. Using thermotechnology along with an EMF meter, the ghost hunter quickly detects some energy here. As he's exploring the place, he's ascending the stairs when his EMF meter again detects an energy field. His thermotechnology spies what looks like a figure in the corner. Later, while he's standing still, he hears a faint noise coming from somewhere within the house. Who is there with him? Maybe this dorm hasn't been abandoned after all. Build it and they will come, but maybe you don't really want them to come after all. Published by Grant Kopek in October of 2020. Something creepy calls this cornfield home. Captured on a Ring camera, a homeowner is seen walking outside at night on the farm, but appears not to notice the enormous creature escaping from the cornfield in the background. As the man walks past, the large blurred figure moves from the cornfield toward a big garage to the left. It disappears behind some shadow in the background. Many in the comments think this is a ghost or an extraterrestrial, while others think it's simply a reflection from the man's jacket, although it very well could be the latter. YouTuber Master of None offers some great advice for the farmer. Don't sleep ever again. If I lived beside that cornfield, I'd have to say I'd be doing the same thing. People go disappearing all of the time, but rarely are such strange events like this one caught on camera. A man in a library is calmly reading when he looks up and spontaneously vanishes. This looks like it has to be special effects, except this unexplained video also has an equally unexplained background. Multiple comments agree that there was once a longer version of this video from years ago that was mysteriously taken offline. In this longer version, this man's face is supposedly uncensored. Whoever this is could have contacted the police over privacy concerns. If so, as fake as this video looks, a longer version without blurred faces could mean this video is real. Two co-workers at a radio station are hearing really strange noises from the basement and want to investigate. They recently heard that a nearby building was haunted and decided to see if the paranormal activity was spreading to their area. The woman in this video says that she went downstairs to get some water and heard these really strange noises.
Can you hear it?
I don't know if you guys can hear that. I can hear it.
It sounds like screaming.
Yeah, it sounds like there's like screaming coming from the pipes.
Or like growling or something weird.
They are talking about how old the building is as they walk down an old stairway to the basement entrance. The noise is growing louder the entire time. They take a deep breath and head to the final stretch of their journey. Eventually, they come across a rather ominous sign.
If you've ever seen a horror movie, you see this sign and obviously you don't keep out, you go in.
No, you don't! You stay out!
The person filming bravely walks in and the video ends. We'll never know if this was a paranormal entity or just common boiler room problems. Thank you so much for getting me to 50,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 60,000 subscribers next. Thank you.